Oh, yeah. Hey,
Hej.
hej, okej, let me... Okej, mam ten. Na razie możemy chyba po polsku, albo...
Hej.
Tylko nie wiem właściwie, jak to zrobić do końca, ale dobra, powiedzmy, że tak, niech tak będzie. Ja jestem tutaj w rogu i w drugim rogu. Chyba w sumie na razie nagrywam. Okay, let's get to English, actually.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling today?
Pretty well.
Good.
So.
So,
Or
yeah.
maybe I should say like Americans extremely well.
Oh, that's better. That's better. Yeah, you can't really. So basically, like yeah, let's just start now. I think like it's, or maybe let's just wait 3 minutes. But basically, like we just felt like because I've been like live streaming for a while now, and I felt like okay, it's about time to actually start talking to people, to real people, not just like me blabbing all the time about my vibe coding, but also I think like it's and it would be good to actually have like a something more regular. And we actually spoke with me and Łukasz. We are actually building one of the projects together, and it's called Pattern Market, which I think it's progressing quite nicely. Obviously we are not putting 100% of our time. We are putting as much as we can. Łukasz is actually studying on university as well as looking for a job, and he's obviously trying to help me with this thing. We sort of we agreed that he's working currently ish, like sort of trying to gain experience for his career, but also I think like it's a good project for him to actually I'm actually ready to share. I sort of offered that I will share some of the profits if we ever get to that point. I hope so, that we can actually make something that will be viable for everyone involved. And there's actually 2 more people with us. Yeah. So how do you feel about the project so far?
It's okay. Actually, it's the first commercial project I'm doing because previously I made only experimental things like
To do apps?
yes, the applications made only for learning reasons. So actually, I hope it would be a good point to put in my CV, like resume. And also, I'm studying, and I have a lot of thoughts about if it's still worth of all efforts in those days, because it's a long progress and it takes a lot of energy and money, and I think it doesn't lead directly to employment. So maybe I'm wondering very often if it's worth of all that energy. Maybe I should put all of this into preparing for a job.
So did you ever study? Did you have like a degree from before, or like
No.
you've been doing sound before,
I
yes?
haven't. I had for a very short time right after high school, but then I decided to work in as a sound technician. It's a completely different industry. So and the the kind of the job, the style of living as a sound technician is very unregular. So I decided after almost 10 years to seek for a more regular job employment, and actually programming and all that stuff around it, it's something I'm interested in it. I always been a little bit. So I decided to go that way, but I'm not sure if it was good idea. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. I'm still in the progress.
But yeah, you are really enjoying it as a thing that to do. So you like
Yes,
to do
yes,
it, but it's just you are not sure 100% if it's a good
yes.
prospect.
Actually, uh, uh, programming, this ability to program to build an application, it gives you a lot of opportunities to start your own business. Like when you start thinking not only about IT technologies, but little more wider, how you can earn money on it. It still gives you some opportunities to make it.
Yeah.
So I hope uh, maybe I should think wider, and it would be a key to success.
Yeah. So like we decided to actually have a chat about like, you know, if is it really worth to actually go for like computer studies, computer science at university. Personally, I'm very biased against it. I think like I actually went to university. I studied computer science. I got the paper somewhere in a drawer. And the funny thing about the paper, no one ever asked me for it. And like actually, first time I was asked for it, well, I mean, no one. I was twice asked for it, and the only reason is that we have this pension scheme in Poland that if you went to university, it's gonna add some years to your retirement, so you can retire earlier if you studied. So that's the only reason why I was ever asked to show the paper. You know, like I could lie, I could say I was on Oxford or something. I went to University of Westminster in London. I think you know, it was a okay studies. I think I kind of learned some stuff. I think some of it was useful, but I wasn't the best student. I think I wasn't really that interested. I mean, I was actually like, in a way, I was pretty good student when I was interested. So, so my studies would be actually very, very uneven. You know, some people would actually stay very, very even all the time, and I would actually just like, I would go for first exam, I would get like 80% or like, you know, the one of the best grades, and then I wouldn't really study because I wouldn't care. You know, I would just know, okay, I can get, you know, in England there are percentage values for your grades. So I would go for 80%. So next I knew I can go for 40. I don't really care anymore. So like I would just not study for the next one, and like I would just have like this amplitude, like it would go up and down. And the thing is, like at the end, I just felt like maybe I could do it quicker. Instead of spending here time and paying for this university, which I'm actually still paying my loan. So I'm paying back my loan to pay for the university. You know, after like 15 years after uni, I'm still paying for it. So that's a big cost if you think of it. You know, and I didn't really, and like instead of going to work for 4 years, I could be working for 4 years, and after 4 years you're like a mid already on the market. I went to uni, and then after uni, I actually still had to go do like lots of tutorials, lots of learning. I did a lot of learning after uni. And then I went for like an internship for 5 months, almost for nothing. They would pay me £10 per day. So it would be, you know, it would be nothing because like it was in central London and I lived like outside of central London. I had like on zone 5 in London. So even my room it wasn't paying for my room. It just paid for like a daily trip to central London. So that would cost like £6. And then like there was enough for lunch. So I could actually just pay for lunch and that's it. So my internship wasn't really paying almost at all. And if I think like, and then after internship, I had some good jobs, you know, so I could actually afford to actually go for a proper job. But like the problem was that, you know, it took me 4 years of studying, and then I was starting from beginning anyway. You know, I had to do like a learning again, and I had to do internships anyway. So like it didn't really get me any closer. So the paper wasn't worth it. The internships, you know, I mean, the need for internship was still there. So it's not like I would get some job. I mean, maybe some people that were actually much more proactive, they actually got some jobs from the university, but I wasn't the one. Yeah.
Okay. Can I ask how much you paid for a study?
Oh, yeah, it was 3,000 pounds per year, which was actually the cheaper than it's now. Now it's 3 times as much in UK. Although I was borrowing money also for living costs. So actually, I stacked about 20,000 pounds 20,000 English pounds of credit, so I borrowed like 20,000 pounds. I paid like half of it so far, but like it's it's very slow process. The thing is like it's
Mhm.
obviously harder to pay it back than to take it, and it's very easy to spend that money. No, tylko jestem zajęty, przepraszam. Nie wiem. Yeah, my daughter
Okay.
walked into. That's fine. So yeah, that wasn't cheap, and I'm still, as I'm saying, like, I'm still paying for what I actually did back
Okay.
then.
And why didn't you study in Poland? Maybe it would be cheaper.
I actually thought that I thought that the degree like was actually worth more, and I think it would probably be cheaper. But at the time I lived in UK, I thought it's gonna be better
Mhm.
to have a university
Okay.
abroad. Although I think like if I went for jobs at the time, it would be worth as much, So like if
Mhm.
I got a couple of years of experience, then probably that would be better. So like for example, okay, so I actually sort of went through. I did a list of things, like pros and cons of university, because just because I'm totally I mean personally I'm against it, but I was actually trying to find like positives in
Mhm.
university, and I actually found like sort of 5 positive sides, and like obviously I just wrote down like a couple of negative signs that I thought like it's worth actually to consider, because like it's a university is a couple of years, so 3-4 years depending how long. It took me 4 years because I had to retake some modules. I was already working at the time, but like I retaken some modules as well. So before I got the degree, it took me like 4 years. But so it's a couple of years of really not working. You're not making money at the time. So it's obviously that's a downside, which I will talk about later. It's an opportunity cost, obviously. But the the pros of actually university is actually you're learning some fundamentals, which in some places are important. So obviously if you are going for like a big tech job or for a government job or like some teaching job or some research, that's actually something that might be useful. And like even when I'm like when I'm doing like sort of I'm in the process of like Google interviews now, and like one part is actually like algorithms. I think there is another part that I have ahead of me. So the algorithms, maybe if I learned them actually very well at university, then they would be useful. Although I didn't really learn them at the time. I wasn't really that interested in algorithms. But basically, like it gives you some good basics for some fundamentals. Like, is this something that you're finding now? This is useful. Like, you get some math, you get some algorithms,
Uh,
some more maybe
I,
about databases and
mm,
stuff.
I think that the skills and the knowledge is wide and very detailed. So it could be slow process, and maybe if you know directly what you need to obtain a job, to receive an invitation for a job, maybe it would be better to learn it by yourself with your tempo, and and maybe you can uh, skip some things which are not so important for a junior job or for your first IT job. And on university, you have to uh, pass all those exams, which are some of them are very detailed. You have to have really detailed knowledge about some topics, and maybe it's a little bit as a waste of your time. Mm, I don't know.
Yeah,
But it depends how smart are you, because if you are a very smart person and it doesn't take so long uh, for you to learn all those things, it's always better to know them than uh, don't hurt
yeah,
don't hear about it.
yeah. I think like but the thing is like I think I can think of one situation in my career, like in the last 10 years. I mean, I had 15 years okay, let's say I have 15 years of as a software developer and 10 years as a front-end developer. But basically in that 10 years, I can remember one occasion where knowing algorithms, for example, would be useful. And we actually like, I was working for a company where we were building an app for a client, and like we were actually transferring, like changing some data from one format to the other. So if I actually did like very good, like better sorting algorithm, the app would load like a fraction quicker, like a second or 2 seconds quicker. Which could be mitigated, even like my bad algorithm could be actually mitigated by me sending into the second thread of the browser. So I could actually do it without even knowing algorithms. But that's the only situation I remember, like that algorithm could be useful. I imagine, like, I'm a front-end developer, maybe some back-end developers, probably not. I think back-end developers, they still deal with data anyway, and maybe there is actually some use. Maybe if you are doing machine learning and stuff like that, maybe then knowing that kind of, having that kind of knowledge would be useful. But in my case, it wasn't very. So, and I actually learned algorithms much later after university. I learned them like 2 years ago or something, where I spent like some significant time to actually try to learn some proper algorithms, how to sort better, how to do those, bubble sorts and whatever, and the tree sorting and stuff, which I forgot then. Still, I would have to learn them again. So I didn't really learn them by heart, but like that was even like for me, it was still after university, which I actually when I actually started learning them. So like the next one is actually signal the credibility, like so the next topic. So the next reason to go to university would be actually that you have a paper, basically. So you have a degree, obviously, you have a piece of paper, but in some institutions it's still important. So it will obviously, some companies earlier, they might actually filter you based on that. I met actually lots of people without university that got really good jobs, and they did very good. But obviously, initially, first job or first 2 jobs, the paper or the degree might be useful. I think that might be a good sorting mechanism for some HR people. So like let me just go through all my points that I found. Actually, it helps some visa and some getting some documents. For example, my wife, she finished university in Poland, and she was actually from Ukraine. So her degree in Poland, in like one of the best universities here, was actually useful to get like a citizenship. So that kind of stuff is still useful. It's a paper that kind of opens some of those doors. Although, like, if you don't need that, maybe that's not a good thing. And yeah, as I said, some HR people might actually, look at your degree at first if you are more junior. You want to expand, or like is this something?
Yeah, I didn't thought about citizenship, but also it could be a
or visa,
pros.
or visas. Yeah, you can get visas in some countries if you have.
But I have my own list also about some pros. And for example, a signal of commitment that you spent 4 years to achieve your goals, and you didn't give up on this. So actually, it could be good point from employee view.
Employer.
Yeah, from employer. And second thing, it could be ability to work with abstractions. For example, in mathematics, you have to understand a lot of abstractions, which is actually common in programming, that you have to understand some architecture, which isn't sometimes easy to imagine, maybe. So if you are a person which easily work with abstractions, it could be good point also.
Yeah. I think like I was actually like, when I was listening to your point about the abstractions, maybe I don't know, it doesn't speak to me. But the earlier point about commitment, I don't know, like I mean, I think like, let's say you have 3 years of university against 3 years of you working on an app. Yeah, so let's say you were working on this app, like pattern market, that you are working on now, and you had 3 years to actually work on it. wouldn't it signal a lot of commitment if you actually created like a, you could create an advanced application in that time? You know, it could have like really a lot built. You could actually like have a, I think like it would be like if the app after 3 years of building wouldn't be on the market and it wouldn't make money to you for you and like pretty good money, I would be surprised actually. I think like if you were building something that is useful for customers and you spend 3 years on it instead of 3 years on university, I think you would have like a quite a good thing to show. That would show a good commitment, like 3 years of that and showing some proper real product. I think like that's, I mean, I'm not saying that it might signal to some people commitment, but if I think of it, like for me, there's an alternative way
yes,
of getting that.
I think that making a very big application, which takes a lot of time, for example, 3 years, it would be also evidence of commitment.
Yeah.
But maybe I don't know. Maybe from employer view, they can't be sure if you made it by yourself only.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you could show him the code, you know. You like with Git, you can always show the history of commits.
Yeah, and also they can ask you about the
Yeah.
details. So maybe
So after 3 years, you would know a lot about your app. You would know more details than they could actually. They would know what to ask about even.
Yeah.
Often.
So actually, it's a good option.
Yeah.
To make.
Yeah, because as a student, you're not really making money. So like, yeah, let's say in alternative situation where you are not making money but building your own business, and like after 3 years you'll release it for some reason, like so slowly.
I heard actually it has changed because a few years ago, maybe before 2020, I heard stories about people who were in the middle of their studies and they receiving pretty good job offer.
Yeah.
And they actually gave up on studies because they were just taken, maybe I even can say, to the job. So it was very easy to have a job back then.
Yeah.
And now it has changed because I know people who finished studies and they still they aren't sure if they find a job. Actually, I assume that they will find a job, but it's not so easy as it was.
Although like a couple of weeks ago, I was looking into like a job report, and it seems like there's no more, like we get more jobs out there on the market, but there is not a big influx of new developers. So like there is less CVs per job than there were like a year ago, and like it's a by big number, like 40% less CVs per each job, you know. So I think like the chances of finding jobs should be bigger. Although like I'm kind of looking for one for slowly now for last 3 months. I'm not really that, you know, that into it, but like I think like I didn't find one, but you know, that's always like finding jobs is always like you know, on and off, you know, up and down. Like sometimes you get lots of offers. Like I remember days where I, you know, like times when I would be searching for a job and like in a week I would get 2 offers, like actual offers, like, you know, actual job offers. And sometimes I wouldn't get anything for 3 months. So, you know, it's best to have like when you have a job to look for another one. That's probably the best, but like, you know, sometimes you can't really get that for longer. But let's get back to our topic of is it worth to study if it's like on university, like computer science? That was the topic. I think like another point, according to like my list, is actually access to opportunities. So apparently, you know, I think you were saying some of it, like, you know, you might be able to get some internships through university, some research opportunities. That I have on my list, actually, I found on, you know, I found like hackathons, although like, you know, you've got some university hackathons and stuff, although best ones are actually outside of universities. The best ones, like the best one I've been to was actually in Krakow a couple of months ago, and there was like 5,000 people programming, a lot, you know, like maybe I'm actually exaggerating, maybe half of that, maybe 2,500. You know, I've been to Google hackathons and like some corporate hackathons. I think they're much more useful than university hackathons. And you get access to professors. How much it's worth, I don't know. It depends, like how, because like when I was in uni, the best professors were actually the ones that were from the market. So but like I didn't actually at the time, I don't really think that I could speak to those people like normally, because like if you went to hackathons, if you went to like some events, you could actually meet those people easily. And especially if you started talking on those events or like interacting with people, you would get actually much quicker to that point than through university. Oh, yeah. Someone is writing that he showed up to, because I was actually other day I was going to teach some guy Python, and he says that he showed up and I didn't, and I was sure I showed up and he didn't. So I don't know. Sorry. So if you were there, let's just arrange another one. Sorry, that's something from the chat. Yeah. So yeah.
Maybe we can discuss if the subjects are obsolete, because in my opinion they are.
So what are you studying now, actually? Because you are on the, so what topics do you study now?
Of course, okay, mathematics. It's also good to understand it, to train your brain. So I don't have nothing against.
No, you can do programming challenges. I mean, no, okay. I did maths in uni, never used it. It's like, everyone is saying that it's good to know, but it's also good to know like history, or it's good to know geography, or it's good, but they're not really necessary. You could easily make a career without them. So that's actually, I mean, everyone says that maths is useful. I never found it useful, except like, so knowing some basic numbers, but that's something that I learned when I was maybe 8.
Okay, so maybe it's good to train your brain somehow.
Yeah, but coding challenges train your brain.
Okay. But for a good example of obsolete subjects is C++ for me, which I don't saw any job offers with C++. Maybe I saw, but not on a beginner level.
I can send you one. I think I got one quite recently.
Okay,
but like,
I'm not good at C++.
I think they should teach like Java and C#. I think they would be much more useful. There's much more jobs on the market than C++. I think like
I had 2 semesters of Java, so actually Java is okay, but I think that C++ could be replaced with Python.
Yeah, or Rust. Those days, Rust. They should.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is a lot of Python offers, so I think it would be very useful for young people who want to find their first job.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of the subjects are not so obsolete. Maybe I don't know if all those details about SQL databases. Some of the tests have really sophisticated questions about queries, which usually aren't used that way, but it works. So you have to answer that it's okay, but maybe you will never see that kind of query in your life again.
Yeah, I think that's a risk. Yeah, like I mean, the thing is, like, you might see them on job interviews, and the reason why people ask them on job interviews is just to like, I actually see it as intimidation. Like they try to show they're better than you, as I know more than you because I know those quirks about SQL or JavaScript. There's a lot of like different knowledge sort of streams that people learn but never actually use it. Like recently I was asked on one interview, I was asked about, there's this new thing in React which is called compiler. So the compiler basically just translates one type of code to the other, and it was introduced. I think is it compiler or something like or something in the React 19. And I was like, when I read about it first, I just felt like, okay, this is just like this is in the background, this is not really changing anything about the programming, And he's actually asking me about details of this, and I'm like, okay, I just knew that it's it's changing from from TypeScript to JavaScript or something like. So it's using better way of converting than the old React, but it's still shit, comparing to like if you wrote your app in just JavaScript, probably it would be quicker with many things. But the guy is asking you about like specifics about that, and like the thing is like just because he finds it useful to know that, it doesn't mean that it's actually useful on the project. On the project, you just know that there is this compiler or whatever it is. I don't remember. I don't know if it's actually called compiler. I don't remember the name. That was introduced in 19. What was the React 19? Sorry, I would just to be React 19, and what was changed there? Something in the background. That is happening. I just when it's converting the files. Okay, doesn't matter. Sorry, I will actually check it later. But yeah, he's asking me about that, like quite detailed questions, like, and at one point, like I asked, like, are we using that? And he's like, no, not really. Or like he was asking you about like some vulnerability, maybe not vulnerability. Okay, basically like just. The stuff is nice to know, mostly not used anyway. And the one time when you might actually use it is during the interview, because someone is asking you that question. Whether it's useful on the job, probably not. Mostly not. So yeah.
Maybe the only reason is to find those really like those geeks which know everything.
Yeah,
who know everything.
I think like I do think about that as insecurity a bit, because like I don't know everything, and I'm happy to actually say that I don't know that some parts, and I'm happy to say that, and some people will actually pretend that they actually know much more than they do, and it turns out like, some of this knowledge is useful, but some of this is just trivia. It's something like that people just know just for knowing more, and like sometimes it's nice to know extra. I think I like the fact that I know how stars are created, but it's not really necessary in my life at all. It's just like a extra knowledge that I feel nice about, or like I know some history stuff that is not
maybe
really necessary.
The better way to making interviews would be to give a question and check the speed, how fast someone can find the answer if he didn't know it.
Yeah, but that's also luck. He might actually jump on the first good result, and he might focus. It's also a luck sometimes. So I wouldn't be actually like I wouldn't measure time for that, because you might be lucky and get the right answer quickly, and sometimes you might actually just struggle, but then you might get better answer, which in the long run it will actually work better. So it's really hard to say like whether time is actually a good measurement of that stuff. And according to what I actually heard, like I mean I can't really bring a research, but I heard actually a lot. Nadiko, jestem zajęty. Nie wiem co to jest. Ktoś siedzi przed... To ja. Freddie Mercury. Yeah, my daughter, she drew Freddie Mercury. And she's laughing. So basically, totally forgot what I was saying.
About measuring the time.
Yeah, the measuring time. I know I used to do like that, as I used to interview people for a web developer job. When I lived in UK, I was actually team lead in one place. So I was actually, that was a part of the thing. So I would ask them to build something. Okay, this is a page, this is a graphic of the page, move it to HTML. And like I would give them an hour, and then I would judge how much they made in that hour. So like, no one would actually, I think one guy impressed me because he did all of it in 1 hour. But I would hire people that would get through like half of it. And I would like, as long as it just kind of made sense and it was like they were using the correct concepts, then I would just hire them. So like the speed is not really good measurement in my opinion of doing stuff, although maybe yeah, I don't know, it depends actually probably of the topic. I think like there are some things that are more repetitive, but now those things are done by AI. So like if they could just like, you know, with that kind of page that I would ask them to do, they would just prompt it in like 10 minutes, you know, and just make me this page, you know. So I think that's something that is not that necessary. Same with those questions that I would get. Let's get back to university.
Okay.
I've got actually another point that, and I don't know if it's actually outlined as a positive, but I don't know if it's that positive. Actually, it said structured learning, and we all from the childhood we are said that structured learning is something good because you should be learning something over a year. You know, it should take you or 6 months to actually learn something, but no, not really. I think like if you need something to know now, it's actually good to learn it now and then. You know, use it straight away, not just like spend a year and then maybe in 5 years you will actually need that. I see the structured learning as something that is not really as positive as they actually say. So it says like, okay, so the structured learning means that there is decision, it's decided what you should learn. So you should go from steps to actually get to some piece of knowledge, you know. So you should start here and learn up to this point. But like in most of the projects, you just need this part and that part, you know. You don't need all of that, and you need lots of different parts from other places as well. But it's not always like in my opinion, it's not always about, you know, if you learn this much, it doesn't mean that you're gonna do all of that. You will use all of that. You most likely will use just 2 bits of that. This was a day here, and then like from 6 months or from a year of learning that topic. Yeah, so like you know, this might help you to know if you are not missing anything. But like the thing is like, how do you know if it's actually necessary, if you are not, if you don't know it or not? If you don't need it in a project, you're not missing it. Sorry, I know you were trying to say something, and I
no, I just typed something because I want to check something, but doesn't matter. But one thought I had when you spoke about it is if you learn something very fast, or maybe you just checking for some things. I don't know if for how long that knowledge stays with you. Like maybe it's better to actually do some learning, some training to have those knowledge for longer. I don't know. Maybe
Yes,
maybe
but some stuff you could
there's
relearn. You know, if it's not like if I learn something on uni, I still know it. You know, I probably forgot most of it, and I know some of the stuff I know that was there, but like I could probably relearn it again, or I could just Google how it's done. Like the thing is like just because we learned something in school, it doesn't mean that we still know it after a year or 2 or 5. You know, and I know people that finished uni, they learned Java, and then they are redoing the same curriculum. They are redoing Java again and again and again. And like, you know, is this really necessary? Maybe you would like when you need it, you would actually learn a bit of it, and then you would apply it, and then you would remember much more. I don't know.
And what do you think about using an AI in school? Yeah, actually, it's a normal thing, but
It's on the market, so like they're gonna use it
yeah,
anyway.
yes, but when you making things for money, you have to do it quick because how much you earn from it depends from time. But in school, maybe because for now, when you are making a query to AI, you can receive very good answer, even if you don't put there any direct contexts.
Yeah.
It's very smart.
So it's a shortcut. Why like it's a shortcut to get knowledge that you actually need at the moment.
Yeah. So even you don't have to understand the contexts, and it makes you learn less deeply.
Maybe, but the question is if you need that knowledge. You know, maybe if you're gonna learn deeper and more it better, it doesn't really mean that you're ever gonna use it, or you find it useful at work. It's just like you understand one concept more. It doesn't mean that it's actually useful to you. So it's hard to say. Like I actually have like absolutely no objection against learning with AI, working with AI on the university. It doesn't matter. Like some people make it sacred, you know, like university is sacred, so you should be learning from the books, you know, you should be like, you know, spending time, read this fat book on Java, and that's how you're gonna learn. And this is really bad way of actually looking at it, because like one, different people learn different ways. So you know, one person learns from fat book, the other one is gonna read the documentation, the other one, like me, is gonna watch video tutorials, the other guy will actually take Java and start just messing up with it, and then he will build something. And like whatever your way is actually to the knowledge, it shouldn't be like people shouldn't be judged on the way they're actually learning, you know. So, or you know, and also like how deep you know stuff, it like often it doesn't really matter if you know like this much or this much, because you're using this much of this of the knowledge. So you actually spend 6 months to get this amount of knowledge that is useful, and the rest is unnecessary.
In general, yes, but it's hard to predict what part of that all knowledge you have to understand, because I think that's why people at universities learning it wider, because it's hard to predict which part of that knowledge you will need to have in your job.
Yeah, but like then on university you can't predict it anyway. So you're learning, you know,
yeah.
when it turns out that you need that knowledge, it's actually better to learn it at the time. And like when you work, it's not that like that you have to finish the job today. It's often, you know, you're estimating something for a week, and the time for finishing that task is a week, but you actually estimate that you will spend 3 days learning how to do it. And then you might estimate it for a week. You will spend a week, and at the end of the week you didn't finish it. And this is normal. Like this is what happens, because that's a beauty of like difficult stuff. You know, when there's difficult task, you can't really predict how long it's going to take. So you might actually need another week just to learn more, and then you are able to actually complete that, you know. So you actually never know if you need that knowledge. I've got actually one more pro for studying computer science or your programming on university. It's like time to grow without pressure. And so you get few years to actually work and experience and stuff. And like one thing I have against that is actually like as in my example, it wasn't without pressure, because like the pressure is now, you know, now I have to pay for the time that I actually had back then. So I'm actually paying this back. So I could, you know, if I didn't go to uni, I could still borrow like 20,000 euro, you know, not euros, whatever, pounds. I could still borrow and live for that money and like still learn, you know. So like I could still make that decision. I could still go into debt to actually learn some programming if I wanted to, like people do still now. You know, they're gonna finish, some people finish university and then they go for a bootcamp where they have to pay a lot of money to actually do a bootcamp, or they might need to pay for uni. So like this point, like I know it's on my list, but I kind of, when I read it, I just thought like, oh no, this is not really this time is actually something that you pay for anyway. Just because you are not paying for it now, you might need to pay for it later, or you're gonna get to the market a couple of years ago later. So that was my last pro of studying. Do you have any other like positives of studying, like some reasons to study?
Actually, maybe similar one, that maybe school, during all the school projects, you can experiment with sophisticated things, and for example, in your first job, you could be afraid to experiment with this.
Yeah, but you might still be afraid of experimenting after, you know, even if you experimented, maybe you on the job you might be afraid to actually.
And actually, you can experiment with in your free time.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the thing is, like with technology, you can just like you can run off and these things at home, and then like, you know, just play with them. So I like, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I really, it's really hard. Like the more I talk about it, it's really harder to convince me that it's a good thing. Uh, let's go. Let's get to like minuses, like cons of studying. I think I've got some candy for later. Yeah.
For me, the biggest cons is that it takes very long time. Of course, you need to put your work into it, money, and the time, because uh, it takes at least 3 years, maybe more, 4 years, and during the time, a lot of things can change, and maybe after your school you have to learn a few additional things mm, uh, to be able to get your job. So I don't know. Maybe the process of learning should be faster in nowadays. Mm.
Uh, yeah, sorry. Like the problem is that it's not going to give jobs to some professors. That's often like a, it's also a system that needs to be fed. The problem is like because like there is one thing is what's good for you, and the other thing is what's good for the system, for a machine.
Mhm.
And like just be like studying something for 2 weeks is not good for a system, because like the system can't survive on that. The professors with their cushy comfortable jobs and with their symposiums abroad and stuff like that, like they can't really survive on that. So they have to have someone bound to the university for 4 years and paying them for 4 years, or at least some budget from some national budget in Poland. So it's from taxes anyway. So it's like in like one of the cons I have, like the biggest one is just slow and inefficient. It's especially for practical skills. So it's like you might learn some theory, but like then project stuff is not really like, I think more it's done more now than it used to be. And like, for example, I was studying in UK, so in UK, like we used to have like lots of projects. Still not very relevant, but like we got some projects, and some of them are actually quite useful. At the time, I could get to like based on what I learned in university, I could get a Java job, or like we had Flash back then, so people would spend lots of hours in Flash, and Flash died straight after when I finished uni. So yeah, you are actually, it's slow, as you said. Yeah, it takes time, and it's inefficient in this case. And yeah, as we said, it's a high opportunity cost. So you're spending 4 years of studying and really not working. So you could be working at the same at that time. Some people work at the same time, so they could just easily, if they got the job, they could easily stay there. But it's you are actually sacrificing 3 or 4 years of your career, of your life, just to get some knowledge that you think that might be useful.
And actually, the price for the study in 2026 could be at the highest level just before little decreasing, maybe in future, because there was a boom
Yeah.
in the industry. There were a lot of people who want to start their careers in IT.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that they the number of the amount of students uh, uh, increased also. So I when the industry have problems, maybe, or maybe there are no problems. There the the need of uh, employing all those young people without higher skills uh, is mm, mm, lower. So I don't know, but maybe the prices will be lower in future, nearly
for
future.
the university.
Near
I think that usually they're going up,
Yes.
unless I mean it depends what the market is, but I think that they seem to be going up. It doesn't seem to get cheaper. Still, like
Okay.
it's you shouldn't think about how much it costs to pay for uni, like to pay for for studying, like if it's $3,000 to $1,000, so is it free? It doesn't really matter, because like if you compare it to like actual job, if you had that job, even junior job pays like say $2,000 per month at least, so if you are delaying this junior job by 4 years, you are actually not getting that. And then like at the stage where you're getting after 2 or 3 years, you get sort of to the middle territory, and this is actually like $5,000 or $6,000 in Polish market. Like I don't like, it depends where you are. Obviously in US probably it's more. Then we are talking about not making like $100,000 or $60,000 a year. So like last 2 years of your university might cost you actually like $120,000 in not in money not made. So that's not only like time which is probably more valuable, but it's still money that you are not really making.
Actually, I have one more pros.
Go for it.
That lot of internships, which are good way to start your career, requires that you have to be a student. So those opportunities are only for students.
Yeah.
So maybe it is a little bit easier to start as a student. But I think maybe it's just a moment. Maybe it would change. But in the last year, I think that it was very hard to find anything, even internship, if you are not a student.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, let me just I just need to I just decided to change the alignment of the screen, because I thought like, okay, I have like two cameras and it just makes no sense. Where's the dynamic tiled? Oh, okay, so maybe this one. Okay, I'm just trying to make myself divide screen into two parts. I will cut it out later in the open. No, not this. Okay, back. Okay, so unfortunately, I don't know how to do it. It's like one of the simplest software out there, and I can't really. No. Okay, doesn't matter. So, sorry. Your point was that some internships. I mean, I think you can easily get internships outside, and like I think the thing is like getting internships, like university internships. I don't even think it's a good idea. If I was going to do it again, I obviously would have. If I didn't have if I didn't have my knowledge, but let's say I have someone I'm actually listening that is already in the industry, and I can ask him a question. Let's say that's my. I didn't have that at the time, but like if I just got that one thing, so you get someone. You could actually ask someone on LinkedIn that that is already in the industry. I wish I thought about that, but if I wanted to do like internship, the most interesting internships would be something that I would actually I would look for them myself. And so if it's an internship that your professor brings to you and gives it to you, you might actually not have it. It might not be as fun as the one that you would actually find yourself.
I think about internships in other way. I mean, internship. I understand it as a way to show to employee that you are worth of employment. Like not to learn something, but to show that you already have those skills and you are ready to.
So yeah, I don't really get your this definition of it, because like for me internship is a job that is almost, it's a free that you get earlier in your career. So that's something that you go to a company and you do stuff for them, or you do stuff for somebody, and then like based on that, that's an experience that you are gaining, but you are just not paid for this, or you are paid very, very little. I actually see it as that way. And usually you take internship for a couple of months, or like 6 months or a year at most, and that's it, you know. So I see this as internship. So it's a very entry job that you don't really expect much to pay to be paid
Yes,
for.
but I think the problem now is that for beginners, it's the only one that kind of entry job is the only one
Yeah.
possible to get.
Yeah, but
So
then it's a job for, like that. That's what I had to do myself as well. I had to go for internship because before internship, I didn't really even feel like the skills I had were actually, I didn't feel comfortable with them, you know. So for example, I went for internship. I spent some time doing JavaScript, sorry, not JavaScript, HTML, CSS at the time, Photoshop, and then after those 5 months, I actually felt confident enough that when I went to the interview, I could actually show those skills quite efficiently. Because before the internship, I didn't really have enough of that work time. You know, I didn't spend enough of a work time myself. And, you know, that's probably my mistake, you know, like I was just spending many hours learning from video tutorials or something, but I didn't really work on a project enough. So I think like, you know, what internship gives you, it's a time which you can apply the knowledge you learned so far. And like however you learned it, whether it's from uni or from video tutorials or from YouTube, wherever, like from documentation, that's, you know, that's probably up to you. Yeah. So I don't know if it's actually like the internship argument is good enough for me. I don't know. Maybe it's really hard to convince me now.
We can check it, maybe not now, but in future, how many offers require the student status?
Which status? Like internship?
Student status.
Probably
like,
none. Like if the higher you go, the less you need it. Probably
okay,
like 20% would actually have degree. But like the thing is, like I was working with for companies that in their job like in the job post, they would actually say that they need university people, like university people with university degrees, and I was working with people that had no university degree, so they got there anyway because they had enough experience. And like the thing is, like what you have on the job, let's say this is a job advert, and this is actually like all the points here, like, okay, that's blurred, so all the points here are actually points in the job advert. So you just need to have like 40 or 50% of that, or like 60%. If you have of what's written there, that's fine. You don't have to have 100%. So let's say you are actually applying for front-end developer job, and the requirements are JavaScript, React, Redux, maybe Figma and Jira, and then there is a university degree. So let's say those are things you need to have. So, and if you have JavaScript, React, Figma, and wherever, and Redux, I said, if you have that, because that's actually something that you're going to learn on a project, and you don't have a degree, most of the people that will actually be hiring, they will actually ignore that degree thing. You know, but still, like it's the job also, like it's not all only about searching for the job, because like often you get the job, you know, from people that you know, and if you actually impress them when you work with them, this is actually, they're gonna actually send you, they're gonna recommend you at the other company, and that's a very good alternative way. And this is the way you actually often get by working with people, not by actually studying with them even, because, you know, they might actually, you know, studies. If I studied with someone, I might recommend them for a job, but I would be much more likely to actually recommend someone that I worked with, because I know how they actually deal with you know, with that. So I think like still, like just because it's on the job post doesn't mean that you need to have that. You need to have like, you know, if you have 60 or 80%, depending who is recruiting and for what, and how serious they are about, you know, what they wrote on the paper, because sometimes people just copy and paste stuff. Then, you know, often it doesn't matter, because you have other skills that are actually much more important. They expect you to write in React, so they actually gonna judge that much more than just university. Okay, I have one more con that I will actually, I think like, you know, if in many jobs actually, like there's too much theory actually for most of the jobs. Like for front-end jobs, mobile dev, if you are building web applications, I think now in crypto stuff, there's quite a lot of crypto stuff. Now, a lot of UI is not something that you will not learn on, AI, you will not learn on university. Well, I mean, you might learn like, or if you are just building your own products, like this, like there's just too much theory, too much theoretical stuff to actually know for those kind of projects. Like if you are looking for front-end job, I think like that's really unnecessary. And like even like a bootcamp or internship will actually get you more offers than the university paper. And like like I'm saying that my university costed me like £20,000, and I actually worked with people who went to Oxford, great university, obviously, wherever you feel like, okay, they're great, it's great, but then they actually came out with $50,000 or $60,000 of credit, like they borrowed $60,000 dollars or euros, wherever, or like some people in the US, they actually borrow like hundreds of thousands. Like this is crazy numbers. And then you are actually, the problem with that is actually the more debt you have, it's really harder for you to set your rules, because you just have to take a job because you have to pay that debt. And the less debt you have, it's actually making you stronger on the job market, because you can actually risk much more, and if you can risk more, you will actually get better opportunities. And this is actually, like, for example, my career is like, sometimes I would risk, I would just leave a good job just to, just to look for other one, just because I didn't really care too much about the risk. And I have my student loan, but I kind of could manage that, it wasn't so crazy. So like if you have too much of debt, that's actually something that I'm sure will impede your career. It will make you actually less competitive, because you will be much more scared of actually, if I leave that job, if they fire me, or if I say something, what will happen, And sometimes if you say something, it's actually better for you. And it's not only better for your career, but you are just feeling much more fulfilled as an employee, if you're actually not afraid to say to your manager, to say no to your manager. So that I think that like the big part of some universities is a debt, and this is one of the biggest, obviously opportunity cost. You didn't make $100,000, but also you borrowed another $50,000, which you have to pay back now. And it's not easy actually if you are working in in big tech. It's usually like you live in a big city and it's expensive. If you want to buy yourself an apartment, you might want to have kids and stuff. I think like one last thing that I think is something that I wrote down is false sense of readiness. And like some people might think like it actually works two ways. Some people might, despite the paper, they might not feel ready and they might still need to do everything again. And that was me. I still had to redo some learning. So I actually learned, finished university, I had a paper, but then I didn't feel worthy anyway. So like I still had to go and learn that stuff. Other people actually might think like, okay, I have this paper, so I'm actually like worth much more. And then they are not ready for that. So that's a risky thing as well.
So actually, maybe study will be okay if you don't have to pay for them. Like okay,
you pay with time.
If yeah, but yes, but you can pay with your money and your time.
Yeah.
So if the government paid from pay for it from taxes.
Yeah, but that's your taxes. Later you will be taxed highly for that. So like,
yes,
of course. If you are paying now, if you are not paying now, you will pay for it later. So maybe like later you'd prefer to have less taxes, and if your work would be actually better paid. I would rather have smaller taxes now than get
Yeah, but actually I don't know if
that's not our choice anyway.
If you don't actually if you don't go on the university, you will either be paying for that.
yeah I know. Well, anyway you are paying, but like you're not paying with your time, so that's, I think your time is actually much more valuable in my opinion. So I think like that's something that you
Yeah.
pay anyway. Like as a sum up, I actually wrote down that university is usually worth it if you are like if you want to work for big tech, obviously for government, for research, and like on some low level systems that might be useful. You might feel you might understand some stuff more, although I don't really know if it's that usable. And if you want to have like a geographic mobility in some places, you might not be able to go to some places. If you want to travel from some poorer country to richer country, to the west, sometimes you might need to have a paper that will say that okay, you've got this degree, and that might actually help you get the job. Yeah, and if you are not really 100% sure of what you want, but still. Oh, and I actually had like one more argument, but well, that's actually something that I got when I went to work, like at work. I would have arguments with people like why university is a stupid choice, and like they would say that there would be lots of girls, there would be girls in the university. So my answer to that is like there's lots of girls everywhere. Like you can go to to a party and then meet girls. So it doesn't mean that you have to go to university, or you can go outside of university and meet the same girls when they're actually leaving the university. So it's not like you have to actually meet them there.
I thought about one thing right now, but maybe we have to speak about making that the opportunity of meeting new people at the university is okay. Not only girls, but from the business reason.
Yeah, but you can like I can find you 10 business events this month that you could actually meet those people, and actually you are meeting people that are actually already higher. So that you're gonna go to some trade event or some some companies are desperate to actually for you to come to their event because they want to have more people sitting there, and they want to have their directors to talk to somebody from outside, or hackathons. People want you to go to hackathons, and like there's so many events outside of university that you could actually go to. And like I know like university is good for that when you know how to use it, obviously, but there is so much, such a wealth. Like if I wanted to do front end, there's like certainly there's a monthly meeting in the front end. If I want to do SaaS, there's about 5 or 6. Like I could go to if I want to do the programming, there's a bunch of programming, different meetups, different groups, different, I don't know, pitch events, wherever, like anything that you want. And this is where you are meeting real people on the market. You're meeting managers, you're meeting directors, company owners. I think that's actually much more valuable than just meeting kids, that are just not yet ready to the market. So that's not really putting you like, if we compared that you are spending 20 or 30 years on university, and if you spend like a week, like you are spending 30 years on university, and if you spend not 30 years, 30 hours a week in a university, and if you spend 3 hours a week networking, going to events like trade events and stuff, I think you would be much further in terms of like meeting people on the on the actual market. You would be much further. This is 10% of that time. I promise you, if you go to those events, if you speak to people, if you ask them what they are building, how they are building, you will learn much more about what's actually on the market. I think you will be much further after that.
So in the conclusion, there are many options to make it maybe faster, cheaper, than going into that industry with studies.
Yeah, we are talking obviously about IT. Like there's plenty of places you could go that without paper you will not get to. If you're a doctor, lawyer, wherever. Although, like I think, like you could still do lawyering, like some of that stuff, like advising and stuff, and you could still make good money. I think like the thing is like the university often focus on like knowledge, and what's much more worth in your career is actually networking. So like speaking to people and asking people, and even like asking them for their technical knowledge. If you are working with other people, like it's good to if you actually learn how to speak and ask about help and stuff. That's actually putting you much more ahead of in a job situation than some actual algorithms or whatever, some math knowledge or something. That gives you almost nothing comparing to like ability to speak to people, which is actually much more valuable in job scenario, in my opinion. And like university almost totally, I mean, maybe there are examples where I'm wrong, but university focuses 90% on the knowledge and maybe 10% on networking, and it should be totally other way around, you know, and on projects work, you know, like you should be spending 10-20% maybe on learning stuff, then 60% of, or like 50% on building stuff, and then maybe 30% on talking to people how to build that stuff, how to use that knowledge. I think that would be actually much better value proposition than, you know, you spend 80% time on learning, then maybe some on the projects, and then some on networking with people, which is, I think, as I'm saying, like it's much more useful than anything, and it will get you progressing at work if you're open to you know, to speak to people, to speak to your managers, to speak to your coworkers, to make presentations about what you're building. It will actually put you so much in advantage at your career, much more than like knowing some sort of like a algorithm or some library or some programming language that not others don't know. I think that's actually much more valuable than. I think, like, you know, I think, yeah, okay. So that's actually my conclusion. I think, like, I hope everyone will have their own conclusion here. Like, what do you think yourself? Because you are actually on university now, so you're, as you said, you are still thinking.
So
like,
I don't want to give up. So
Yeah.
I want to finish it. Even because that I want to. I don't want to interrupt things, and maybe it's more about to show others that I'm able to make it,
Yeah.
not just because it's worth it. And but actually, I'm aware that it won't lead to employment. I have to a lot of additional things
Yeah.
around it.
No, it will lead you to employment. There's multiple ways to get to get employed. There is a way through university, outside of university, through internships, and outside of that. There are multiple ways to get there, you know? So I'm not telling you that you will not get a job. It will just take you a bit longer. It will take you more, and you might actually learn things that are necessary.
Or I'm going to do this week, for example, that I want to prepare exactly for the internships exams or that kind of exams on provided by the employers. So I'm going to learn for exams
for
which
like tests
aren't
that might be on the
for tests which aren't university tests, which aren't universities tests.
Yeah. I think, like, you know, but you might get that outside of it. I think the best place where I learned actually, you know, doing that is Code Wars. This is something I actually spent, like, I think I made like 60 or 70 tasks there, different like some of them are algorithms. This is actually very valuable, and I think that's gonna teach you quite a lot. Yeah, just do Code Wars. It's actually very fun to do it, and you can apply some of your theoretical knowledge about programming and about some algorithms and some maths and stuff, and you can find specific types of exercise if you want to, you know. So you could, and you know, you can choose like from how many are here, like 50 languages, 1 2 3 4 5 6 36 37 38 39 languages. Is it like that's only for this test. So let's say you've got about 50 different programming languages you could do it with. You get like different you know, different types of you know, of tasks, you know, whether there are some mathematics, there are some bits, arrays, algorithms, you know, some games, some puzzles, you know, you get like those kind of stuff. So this is, oh shit, sorry, I just closed the podcast. So yeah, I think like that's, that's a good way to actually do it, I think. Although, like, yeah, I think like there's multiple ways of doing that. And as I'm saying, like, you will get job, you'll get tech job through university, you know. But you can get that job without university. That's my point,
Yes,
actually.
but uh, just being a student, like just making all those universities tasks doesn't. You have to do additional things
Yeah,
to find a job.
yeah.
It's
So whether you go to university or not, you will still have to do internships or some additional
Mhm.
training, some additional tutorials. So basically, I know, I'm not saying don't go or go, you know. I'm just saying that think of it twice, you know. Think of it before and like consider it if it, like just think of it like that you are actually spending some actual time, even if it's a free university. You are spending some actual time that if you use differently, maybe you would actually get better results. And it's always investment, you know. You're either investing your time into university or time and money, or you invest your time and money into searching for a job. And actually, when you like, if I think of it, like when I was 18, 19, I could still live with my parents for a year or two, and just make some projects on the side. I just didn't think of it, you know. I just thought like, oh, you have to go to university because grandma wants you to go to university, you know, or like mom
Mhm.
will be proud and everyone will think that you are great because you went to university. And no one actually thinks you are great because of that, you know. There's lots of people that went to university and they're shit and you wouldn't want to know them. And there are lots of people that didn't go to university that they made a big money and like great careers, and there are great people that everyone would want to work with them.
I agree with it.
Yeah.
You have to just be smart somehow, like making good decisions and have good ideas.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Okay. Like I've got like I didn't get many questions from the chat, but like there's someone is asking like what university you are studying. Um, where are you
uh,
studying?
in
Polish,
Warsaw,
Polish
Polish,
Japanese
Polish, Japanese, yes.
Institute. Yeah. So it's actually actually it's considered as best private technical school in Poland, isn't it?
Uh, hmm. uh, to say that, I should have something to compare. I never been in other
Yeah.
IT
No, but
universities,
you
so
don't
it's
have to
hard to
go to
compare.
all the universities to know that is best. But like
Yeah,
there are
but
some rankings that are actually ranking them somehow. So I think like
hmm.
it's considered as a good school for sure. You know.
Yeah, I heard that it's good, but I don't know if it's good or the best. But it's not bad.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm sure that it's not bad, but maybe it could be better.
Mhm. Yeah. I had I had a guy that I supposed to have like a. I was saying about that earlier. So sorry. I was just like to meet. I had a guy from India who wanted me to actually teach him programming, and he's writing that I didn't join. I joined and I have it on my live stream. I was actually trying to make a live stream out of it, and I actually went to that meeting, and you weren't there. So if you want to rearrange it, just send me a message, and we will actually rearrange it. But I actually planned it. I've actually sent you invite for specific time, and it was actually my time, you know, Central European time. So maybe you actually joined like your local time or something, but you weren't there, and I've got that on live stream. So sorry for like I'm trying for defending myself. Oh, my cat is actually wanted to go. Um, yeah. Okay. How did you like it actually? Because it's our first, let's say, podcast. Do you want
Okay.
to come back next week, in 2 weeks' time or something? You think there is a
Yes, we can try if we going to have a good topic which could be discussed. Yeah, no problem. But maybe I will have to some preparation to discuss it deeper and to have conclusions.
yeah? I think like it's I think it's actually interesting format, and like I'm inviting people for those kind of podcasts. So if you guys like here in the chat you want to join for one, and you have a good topic you want to speak about or talk about, I'm happy to actually do that. I feel like it's a yeah, I like it. I actually enjoy it much more than just coding on my own and just maybe responding to a chat sometimes. I think it's a good to have that kind of conversation. And like sometimes I don't really get them that many anymore, you know? And like yeah. So yeah, we will actually arrange another one in, I don't know, a week or two, maybe. Maybe AI coding. That's something that is useful. How to best
Yeah.
do it, or how to worst do it, how not to do it.
I'm sure that it's interesting to make. I don't know how much interesting it's for viewers.
I think there's lots of people. I actually got lots of messages, people asking questions about AI coding and stuff, and what are my, you know, my prompts. Maybe like your favorite 5 prompts. We can discuss them. Best 5 prompts for you.
Hmm. Actually, I don't have any
Specific ones.
uh, specific ones.
Yeah.
I just try to speak with it.
You know what's my favorite one? Like, make my page pretty. So I'm just giving it like, make this page pretty and redo it, basically. And it just adds some icons, sometimes some stupid stuff, but sometimes it's actually making it so much better. So like recently on this page, I don't know if I'm sharing. It's actually seen for people in the podcast. So that's on the sewing pattern market, basically. So in our patterns, we've got this page, and it was so ugly actually before. So I just told AI to actually make it prettier, and it made it prettier. So yeah, that's my favorite now. Yeah. So okay. Thanks guys for joining. Thanks Łukasz for joining this one.
Thank you for inviting
Um,
me.
yeah, and yeah, as I'm saying, I like it. I invite everyone to actually just contact me, and we will actually arrange something. If you have some products that we are building and you want to talk about them, I think like that's actually one of the more interesting parts for me. I think like anything like this university stuff is very important, because like I can see that lots of people are actually thinking about it, about actually getting IT jobs and what are the best ways to get there. And traditional, like if you ask your parents, they will tell you to go to university. If you ask some other people, they might tell you different things. Yep. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I will stop streaming. Stop the stream. I will be on another one later, where I will be showing how I'm building my app. Make sure guys to subscribe and comment and like my video. I think this is important part, and like make sure sure you subscribe, because then you will know when there's more of that. Okay, cool. Thanks.